uwager.lv, sportsbook, and casino. Sign up today at uwager.lv, the premier online sportsbook, taking wagers since 1998. The most player-friendly lines, weekly juice specials, and a true dime line in MLB. Unique casino platforms with thousands of games. Play poker, high stakes, low stakes, or tournament play. uwager.lv, what we offer. Free same-day payouts. Customer service and wagering support, 24/7, year-round. Free monthly rebates on your action and daily casino rebates. Contests, free bets, best bonuses, and giveaways. Generous referral program. Get an 80% free play bonus on your first deposit, up to $1,000. Sign up today, and use promo code SPORTSWEB. Remember, you can't win if you don't play.
Third annual pre-Labor Day car show by Twisted Outlaws on September 3rd at the Stockyard, by the Stockyard there in Holiday, Florida. The Sports Web will definitely be out there. You'll have raffles, vendors, cash prizes, show cars, car audio, and of course the evolution of sports talk television. Get out there. The address is 1916 US Highway 19 in Holiday, Florida. Here we go.
The third annual pre-Labor Day car show is speeding your way September 3rd, only at the Stockyard in Holiday, Florida, with cash prizes, raffles, and vendors from all over Pasco County. Don't miss out on this used car show competition, where we are handing out trophies for Best of Show, Best Audio Setup, Best Paint Job, Best Original Design, and many, many more. Call today for more information.
I love that. Here's where I will be on September 3rd.
Minute situation. So once we got to the 2-minute situation and Kyle got that in, really didn't want to play Baker in the second half when we was changing the lineup. We wanted John to get some of the work, and he did.
guys, it's another edition of the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. And how do we start off this show on a Monday and Wednesday night? Sorry about the lateness. We'll get out to the phone call in just a moment. In fact, hold on a minute. How do we start off this show? Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. On tonight's show, we'll have Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire of 1252 Chicago Sports. As always, my co-host, and then special guest, Mr. J.C. Allen of Pewter Report. The Bucs doing work here in the last hour. I wasn't necessarily going to go live because I got to be honest with you, my back has been absolutely hurting all day long, but I felt like I owed you it. So we'll open up the phone lines. The phone lines are open. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. The other number, in case you can't get through, and you should be able to, 727-409-7528. Again, 409-7528. Let's go ahead and get my co-host on. Here we go. Handicapper extraordinaire of 1252 Chicago Sports, and of course co-host of the Evolution of Sports Talk Television, the Greek, Mr. Harry the Greek. Welcome to the Evolution of Sports Talk Television, my friend. How you doing tonight?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. I got my a little bit of popcorn. I'm getting to sit here and listen to you about how your back hurts. I mean, just everything's great.
Yeah, because I have to carry this show. Yeah.
Carry the show.
All right, I tell you what, let's go out to Mr. J.C. Allen. No music for you, my friend. I'm sorry about that. J.C.
Oh, my God.
It's camera here. Welcome to the Evolution, as we got a phone caller on here, but we'll get out to you.
Honey, I got a picture of J.C. Allen. You can see him. Joshua,
JC,
can I have your autograph?
Will you shut up, Harry, and be quiet? JC, what's going on, buddy? Lots of breaking news tonight. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
Doing
Fantastic,
great, buddy.
man.
Doing
How
great.
you doing, buddy?
It's good to see you on camera here. I don't necessarily want to have this caller hold any much longer, so let's go out to them. Welcome to the Evolution. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Welcome to the Sports Web. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, this is Micah Samuels, and I'm from Florida.
Oh, hey, what's going on, buddy? You're on with yours truly, along with Harry the Greek, and of course, J.C. Allen of Pewter Report. You got some Bucs thoughts here, something you want to talk about? How are you guys preparing for the hurricane? That's the other question tonight for the fans. What about you? What are you doing for this hurricane? What's on your mind tonight?
Oh, well, I'll talk about the hurricane real quick. Well, I'm just really because I do landscaping outside and stuff like that. So, I'm just wondering if I'm going to be working tomorrow or not. Don't know if the hurricane's coming or what.
Yep, absolutely.
Hold on. I got my ball. Hang on.
Your crystal ball.
You will be working tomorrow, but on Wednesday, you're going to be closed.
Yeah, I think that's true because that hurricane is nuts, and we'll get the latest here in just a little bit, but it's supposedly going to be either a Cat 3 or a Cat 4. The path is supposedly also going to be the Big Bend area, but you have to keep an eye to the radars here because we all know that this track can change at any point, and that cone, there's definitely it's always fluid here as we talk about
side too.
Well, exactly, right?
Get that extra strong wind.
Yep. All right. So, yes, go ahead. What do you want to say about the Bucs here, real quick?
Oh, I was kind of I wasn't disappointed or anything like that, but I was just about the whole Kyle Trask and Baker Mayfield thing.
Okay.
I just think that I just don't think they should give Baker the starting position. I think they should go in there how they I forgot what team is doing it this year. Or we're talking about doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I think they should just go. They should go in week 1. Baker or Kyle start first half, or at least one game, then one game, because you can see Kyle he had way more playing time than Baker. Yeah, he had a couple mistakes, but when he didn't, it was amazing.
JC, what do you think about that? Because I feel like you got to go into the season with the starting quarterback. That's consistency for your team. It's good for the locker room. But what do you think about Kyle Trask here? Thanks a lot for the call, man. Appreciate it. Use that second call if you want to, okay? Thanks for calling the Sports Web.
Yeah, I think you have to have a starting guy. You can't go back and forth. The saying goes, if you have two quarterbacks, you have none. So really, you had a competition that gave both of these guys a shot, whether you thought it was a realistic chance for Kyle or not. And it was Baker's job to lose the entire time. The competition did wonders for Kyle's growth. It also pushed and ignited a fire in Baker as well. So I think the right decision was made here. It's a little easier to go from Baker Mayfield to Kyle Trask. If Baker does struggle, he's got the 69 games of experience. You look at Baker, what he's been able to do throughout his career, coming in as a rookie, setting the league record, rookie record for touchdowns in a rookie year by a quarterback. Obviously, he had some hiccups and 7 different head coaching changes throughout his career before he settled with Todd Bowles on his 8th, and 6 offensive coordinators before Dave Canales became his 7th. But 2020, a year that was in a similar offense, that really married the run game, the passing game very well. It was a similar style from that Shanahan branch, from going all the way to Mike Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan, McVay, all those guys that run a similar offense, and he had his best year as a pro, 11-5, a couple plays away from the Super Bowl or the AFC Championship, rather, if Chad Henne doesn't come and take over from Mahomes and makes that 4th down run. So you had to go with one guy. I think they made the right choice with Baker. Kyle certainly has the respect and confidence of his teammates and coaches if there's a situation where he needs to go in there. And I think that's the best you could have asked for out of this situation. If Baker gets injured or is ineffective, it's not a lost season. You're not putting your number 2 quarterback in and the guys are like, well, pack it in, guys. We're playing for nothing now. They have the confidence that Kyle Trask will be able to keep them afloat, keep them relative until Baker gets back or the season ends.
Harry, I mean, what do you think? Do you think they should go in with 2 quarterbacks or going with the starter? And of course, we've talked about it at nauseum here. I know that you like Kyle Trask, but also like Baker Mayfield. So give me your analysis on that thought process of going in with 2 starting quarterbacks. You go with one. How do you make this happen in your opinion, Harry?
And it's a great question, Pete, because I'm going to tell you. I honestly thought that Kyle Trask was going to be QB1 to start the season because he was such a high draft pick, and you don't want to concede and say, he was a failure. And I don't think they're doing that. I think the Buccaneers really like what they have in Kyle Trask. I watched him in the preseason. I think he's came leaps and bounds from where he was a couple of years back. I think even JCA will talk about it. But he's right. I mean, first overall draft pick, set the touchdown record for a rookie quarterback of all of all time, which is a pretty high praise, man. And Kyle does give this team the best chance to win right now. However, with that being said, no, I don't believe a team is better off having 2 quarterbacks, one play one half or the other half, or one plays this game and the next game. What are you telling your team then? Typically, when a team does that, that's because the team is in shambles. The season just started, so we don't know if this team's going to be in shambles or not. Full disclosure, it's going to have a hell of a running game this year, and they're going to play some seriously good defense. And they do have they did make the right decision by making Baker Mayfield QB1 to start the season.
All right, before we get to the performance against the Ravens, you just had some breaking news here about an hour and a half ago. The Bucs have confirmed 32 roster cuts as of now. Of course, Ryan Jensen going on the IR. John Wolford, their quarterback, cut. Patrick Laird, Ronnie Brown, running back. David Moore, I think, was a shock. We'll get back to that in a moment. Ryan Miller, Cephas Johnson, Kalen Geiger, Cade Warner, of course, Kurt Warner's kid, Tay Barber, Tana Talua, Dominic Daphne, Chris Murray, offensive lineman, Luke Haggard, Raekwon O'Neal, offensive lineman, Silas Dizani, offensive lineman, John Molchin, Michael Neese, Patrick O'Connor, kind of surprising there with the defensive lineman, Willington Prevellion, DeAndre Sanat, defensive lineman.
Willington Prevelon.
Okay, and CJ Brewer, DL, 6th-round pick, Jose Ramirez, outside linebacker. JJ Russell, I think, is also a surprise. Lots of cuts there. I tried to go through as many as I could. What's shocking to you? John Wolford, J.J. Russell. What do you take out of this, JC?
Well, Peter, let me talk to you.
Talk.
I think,
Yeah.
yeah, I think when you look at this list, there wasn't too many shocking cuts. I think, when you looked at what the Bucs had, younger guys, older guys, what they were trying to accomplish, I think there was a few guys that kind of stood out, who I had predicted yesterday on my 53-man roster prediction. First being David Moore. I mean, he's a guy who knows the system. He's played with Brad Idzik and Dave Canales in Seattle before. If you look at the roster, it's a very young roster. Behind Mike and Chris, you're starting 2 rookies, one of them undrafted, out there, and a second-year player, Devin Tompkins. They're running with 5 wide receivers. Now, David Moore is going to be back on the practice squad. That's pretty much a done deal. Is going to, obviously, they can't sign anybody till after Tuesday. I think Wednesday they can start filling out that practice squad. So Dave Moore will be back. Another guy who will be back, John Wolford. It was expected that he was going to be cut and brought back as that practice squad quarterback, kind of like Ryan Griffin was. The only hiccup there is he has to pass through waivers. So if he gets claimed, he'll be going to another team. If not, he's expected to be back on the practice squad. J.J. Russell was a surprise because he had a really good camp and he was dynamic in the preseason. I mean, he had 11 tackles on Saturday's game against the Ravens. But the same situation there. If he can clear through waivers, they want him back. And there's even a scenario where he might play week 1. It all depends on the health of KJ Britt and Savasi Dennis, who are both banged up right now. So there's a possibility that week 1 he could be elevated to that active roster from that week off of the practice squad. Of course, you get 3 elevations this year to elevate players from the practice squad to the active roster. So Pat O'Connor was another one. I mean, he's logged over, I think, 700 snaps on special teams since he got here. He has been, mostly a special teamer, but he's made splash plays as well when, in that nickel rushing role. I think at Mike Green, who signed on as a tryout player last year, has just continuously improved. Pat's another guy they want back on the practice squad. I'm not sure if he has to go through waivers or if he's got the veteran status where he's just released. But if he does, I mean, Pat's going to want to be back here. I don't think there's a situation, he loves the teammates, he loves the city, he loves the town, he lives down here. I don't see a situation where, unless someone's giving him a starting role, that he's going to go somewhere else. So he should be a pretty good lock pack here. You look at the rest of the cuts, they're all kind of guys who you kind of expected. I think Jose Ramirez might be the shocker because the Bucs sent a 6th round pick on him.
Right.
But really, he injured his hamstring in the first preseason game and hasn't really played. He only had 3 snaps on Saturday. 2 of them were on special teams. So it's one of those things where I think they're trying to sneak him back on the practice squad and develop him. Of course, he had crazy measurables. So there's a chance that a team that wanted to grab him in, the late 6th, early 7th, or as an undrafted priority free agent, they could come in and scoop him up to try to develop him.
Right.
It's a risk that they're taking, but they're going to keep Marquise Watson, likely Cam Gill ahead of him. Cam Gill, obviously, been here since the Super Bowl year, had the half sack in the Super Bowl, special teams guy. He's really kind of had a good camp and good preseason, 1.5 sacks. Made a shoestring tackle on Saturday to save a big punt return. And Marquise Watson's just been lighting it up since he got here. Undrafted guy who's just proved that, he can be effective getting to the quarterback anyway. So those guys will probably make it. Other than that, I mean, most of these guys were standard guys who you thought were probably going to get waived. John Molchin was one that maybe was a surprise if you thought if the Bucs were going to keep 9 or 10 linemen because of his versatility with center and guard, they might keep him. But
J.J. Russell, did they keep J.J. Russell? Because that guy really stood out.
They did not. They actually cut him, and
they cut this guy. This guy led the team, and oh wow, that's a big. Now that's a surprise. That guy was the surprise being cut. I thought that guy was a shoo-in. I thought he was moving. I thought he was going to move someone from a roster spot. That's how good he played.
I mean, you definitely outplayed KJ Britt, but of course KJ Britt didn't play during the preseason because he was a little bit banged up also. So you saw a lot of JJ Russell. You didn't see as much of Devin White, of course, Levante David. So Russell got that opportunity. And I think that's probably my biggest surprise here. And going back to David Moore as a wide receiver, but it kind of tells you, JC, how deep they are in that wide receiving room. Of course, you've got Evans, Godwin, Trey Palmer, Raheem Jarrett, and Devin Tompkins. So I guess I could see why they decided to cut David Moore, even though he's a veteran. He kind of knows that offense. Not really a surprise, I guess, right?
Well, as a veteran too, he would count, his full salary would be guaranteed after week 1. So if they want to put him on the practice squad and then pull him back up if they needed to, they could certainly do that too. That's in the cards. But Jason's going to scour the waiver wire. There's a bunch of veterans who are getting cut. One of them, Desmond King, nickel cornerback for the Texans. I think he's a guy who could be a possibility that they might look at to bring in here. On the broadcast even Saturday night, Jason kind of pointed out that secondary. They brought up the depth, and he said that's the position we're going to be looking to try to upgrade with talent, throughout the season. So there's any veteran guys that come cheap enough, it's kind of telling what they thought of a guy like Bryce Callahan, who's been a very effective nickel throughout his career, San Diego and other stops, or San Diego, Los Angeles, whatever you want to call it. But with the Chargers, they didn't want to bring him in. I know they want to get a look at their young guys. Obviously, undrafted free agent rookie safety / nickelback now. Christian Izzy is going to be the starter there. So it's one of these things where I think they'll probably look for safety depth. I think they'll probably look at cornerback depth. You're fairly shallow there. A lot of young guys on this roster, a lot of undrafted guys, could be up to 7 guys, undrafted guys on this roster making the team. By far, Bolsa the most that he's ever had as a coach on a team. So it's going to be a young team. It's going to be a fun team. It's going to be a fast team. It's going to be a hungry team. So we'll see what they do, come tomorrow and Wednesday, because they can start putting waiver claims in tomorrow on some of these guys that were released today. And obviously Wednesday, they'll start to put together their practice squad, and other guys who might have been released on Tuesday, tomorrow, after that 4 o'clock, before that 4 o'clock deadline, they can start putting those waiver claims in, and those will get awarded 4 o'clock the next day on Wednesday. So lots of tinkering to go at the bottom of this roster. They're definitely not done assembling it. But I think safety, offensive line are the 2 spots to look for, potentially running back as well, if they want a more bruiser style runner instead of, because they've got the other guys with White, Tucker, and Chase. So if they're looking for a bruiser guy, that could be someone who might upend a spot like Keyshawn Vaughn on the roster.
All right, good stuff there, JC Allen up. Pewter Report, of course, my co-host there, Harry the Greek Professional Handicapper. I'm your host, Peter Blake, here live on a late edition of the Sports Web on a Monday night. Harry, you got a question for JC?
Yeah, I have a really, really good personal question. Do you think that Keyshawn Vaughn is going to make this team this year?
As of right now, yes.
Okay.
I don't. As of right now, yes. If you would ask me prior to, I would have said no. I actually left him off my 53-man roster prediction. But I think at this point he's made the team, but I don't think his spot is safe at all. Like I said, I think that if they can get a guy, different style runner, that bruiser back, goal line, punch it in, back that can play special teams, someone like 6'1", 6'2", 230. I think they'd like that, to have that on that team. They don't have that style of a runner on this team. Keyshawn Vaughn can kind of do a little bit of everything.
Well, they can go out and get one. They can go out and get one because the Chicago Bears are loaded with running backs, and they just got rid of Deontay Foreman.
Well, and that surprises me, because I thought Deontay...
That didn't surprise me because of Roshan Johnson. That kid's a beast. But Deontay Foreman's out there. That would be a nice addition for Tampa. I think he could run between the tackles.
All right, let's go back out to the phone lines here. Hold on, JC. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the Sports Web.
Hi, this is Micah again.
Okay, Micah, what's up?
So I also wanted to talk about, and I didn't get to say it because I just didn't think of it at the time.
Okay.
But my question was, and I don't know if you guys have any thought about it or anything, but about Ryan Jensen. Like, how is he going to be like? I mean, are we just going to put Robert Hainsey right in that spot again? I mean,
it's all you can do.
I mean, it seems like that's exactly what's going to happen. Of course, if you guys didn't catch it on Saturday night, Jason Light announced it during the game in WFLA that Ryan Jensen is going on the IR. So he is officially done for the season.
You're bad, Andrew. You're bad.
Well, what did Andrew say?
Nothing.
Okay. All right. Just worry about the Giants there, Andrew. Thanks a lot.
him.
Appreciate the question as always. Thanks a lot for using that second call. Ryan Jensen, JC, what's your take on this whole deal? Because there was conflicting reports from Todd Bowles and Jason Light talking to him a couple of days ago, and now Tristan Wirfs says that the offensive line knew about it weeks ago. So what do we make of this whole situation? A lot of fans out there feel like Jensen should have got surgery, but of course he explained it in the presser. What did you learn from him, and what do you think about this whole situation overall?
Yeah, it was kind of a lack of communication because we asked Todd Bowles almost every day for 3 weeks, like, what's the update with Jensen? And it was just status quo throughout the time. So the fact that they dropped that in the middle of the game, obviously we're at the game, we're writing stories, we're trying to get everything down. So it's a little bit of an inopportune time for him to say that. I kind of missed most of this third quarter trying to like just get a story out and get quotes up and everything like that from that broadcast. But, obviously it's the best thing for him. It hurts. You could tell, I mean, just looking at him, how much it hurt that he had to even talk about it, make that announcement. He's going to try to work back, but at this point, I don't think football's in the cards for him. He's going to take that AQ Shipley route. If you remember a couple of years back, AQ Shipley kind of served as that mentor. He'll do that this year. There's a possibility they can move off from him next year. And save about $700,000 in cap space. Not a lot, but they can't do anything this year because it will accelerate bonuses that have been pushed out. It will accelerate deferred money. What's it called? Void years. So they can't really do anything like that this year. So they'll put him on IR, let him collect the paycheck that he's earned. And that's going to be it. Bob Hainsey is going to be your starting center. Nick Leverett's going to be your backup center, and that's how it's going to go. In a pinch, if they have to have a guy play center in that third spot, probably Cody Mock with probably Stinney stepping in off the bench to replace him. So, obviously less than ideal. You lose a lot with Jensen. His demeanor, his attitude, his leadership skills. He's always playing to and sometimes pass the whistle. There's not a lot of guys in this league that will intentionally piss off Fletcher Cox. Mm-hmm. Ryan Jensen was one of them. So you're going to miss that because Hainsey doesn't bring that attitude. But what Hainsey does bring is he's a very cerebral player. He's the smartest guy on the line when he's out there. So that's going to be a big help for them as far as identifying coverages, identifying different shifts and different, incoming blitzers and stuff like that, and really help communicate with that line up and down. But again, he's not going to bring that toughness. The hope is that right side of the line with Cody Mock and Luke Gedeke, they bring that toughness to them. They're both self-described glass eaters. We saw them kind of throwing guys out of the club the last couple of games. So it's a big blow for sure, but they'll find a way to move on. They did it last year, and they're just going to have to hope that Bob Hainsey can stay healthy and answer the call.
Harry, what did you think of the loss of Ryan Jensen? How much of a loss is that on that offensive line?
Well, it's a two-part answer. I thought it's a huge loss. I mean, the guy's probably one of the better offensive linemen in the entire National Football League, for God's sakes. Hainsey could be you can identify him as the most cerebral person on there, but man, he's not Jensen, not even close.
Right.
Now, talking about identifying, I have to bring this up to lighten it up a little bit. I'm driving down Seminole Boulevard. And I get right up to Park Boulevard. It was a couple of days ago, and I'm sitting there, and there's this car sitting in the middle. Mm-hmm. And this guy's got a piece of cardboard covering his license plate, okay, guys? And it says, quote unquote, "I identify as registered."
Oh, God.
Just think about that for a minute.
This guy sucks.
All right, let's go out to the comments here.
Really, man? That was a funny. And I got JC Allen going,
All right. So Christopher O'Reilly, so many cuts. Jose Ramirez must be going to the practice squad. Micah says, go Bucs, go Bucs. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's go out to Sitten, go Bucs again. Good stuff.
How about them Bucs, baby?
Let's go out to David. That's funny when you just yelled out, bring your passion, bring your excitement. My dog jumped about 5 feet in the air. Laugh out loud. Very cool.
Yeah.
Sitten says, what's up, Peter Blake? What's going on? Ralph, sorry to hear about your back. It's okay. We'll get through it. Talk with you tomorrow.
The doctor said he needs a backiotomy.
I need something. I need somebody to take a sledgehammer to the damn thing. I'm tired of it. JC finally shows his face, says Ralph right there. Brandy says, I agree. Very cool. I guess let's go Bucs.
How about them Bucs, baby?
Let's go out to Taylor Jean here. Hey, JC, let me talk to you. So, Bucs fans, what do you want to talk about? You want to talk about cuts? Yeah. Yeah, that's a wrestling thing there, Harry, you don't know about. That's really cool. Did you get your wife to do that? Did you write yourself?
No, she stole my thunder because I was going to put all those things throughout the show. I already did one of them.
That's awesome. Welcome, Bubba Brewer, right there. Great. Thanks, Bubba, for tuning in. Edward says, Master Peter Blake, thank you, sir. Appreciate
it. All day, every day. All day, every day.
All day, every day.
She just has to listen to it, yeah.
My back, too. Thank God we have comfy chairs. Yes, that's very true. You have comfy chairs, but smart ass, you've got to put this together. The equipment is a little bit heavier, and I live on the friggin' second floor. So that's the reason. Oh, I know. I'm supposed to be okay. I'm all right. It's okay.
You got to lug it upstairs and then lug it all back downstairs.
Poor
JP Peterson show.
Right. I mean, I'm not saying, again, we're going to be doing the JP Peterson show here tomorrow from 10 to 12 because of the hurricane. Yeah, I know. I don't want your sympathy here. It's okay. It's all right. But when you're dealing with your stuff, I'll say the same thing. I want to hear Harry's thoughts on My Big Fat Greek Wedding coming out soon to theaters. Any thoughts of that? Because you don't want to talk wrestling and you really don't want to talk about Ryan Jensen. So talk about My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Really, Andrew? Really?
There you go.
Really, Andrew?
Rest in peace, Bob Barker.
This guy sucks.
Harry's like that Michael Jackson meme eating popcorn. All right.
Really, Andrew?
Edward says, right.
Andrew?
No, was a surprise. Yes.
Andrew, why don't you go mount some tires, okay, buddy?
Go mount some tires.
Don't give up that day job there, bro.
Can you all show the roster while we're talking about it? I didn't get an opportunity to show it. I know, go to JC's Twitter platform. He has it right there. Keep an eye. Was that a pun? Micah, again, open the call lines. The call lines are open. Micah, thanks a lot for calling. Hey, guys, what's going on? Chris Cole,
yeah.
2 giant goofballs there. That also is because he's on the 14 going for Baker's dozen. Ed says, I just want to know if Trey Palmer is still on the squad. He is, and definitely going to make it. Right, JC?
Absolutely. He's going to be penciled in as that wide receiver 3-ish. Which Micah asked the question, does Palmer become a starter? He's going to be that wide receiver 3-ish, but they're going to rotate a bunch of guys in that role. He's going to, one week he'll have probably a more defined role. Another week it might be DT or Rakim Jarrett in that role. So expect to see a lot of him. They're also going to use a lot of 12 personnel, which is 2 tight ends in the field. So expect to see a lot of David Wells and a lot of Kate Otten out there as well with Mike and Chris. So he'll have a role. And it will be a pretty decent one, but it's probably not going to be as significant as Russell Gage's would have been if he was healthy, because they'll rotate those guys out, especially depending on the game plan, opponent, etc.
Well, and I know you like to watch Trey Palmer there, Harry. What did you think of his performance? Trey Palmer, Devin Tompkins, and, of course, Rakim Jarrett.
Well, Trey Palmer, let me tell you something. I am so excited. I can't wait to a game when that running game is just absolutely just grading across the field. They just got full control. And then you pop that play action and you peel the top of that defense off. Bro, it's going to be something to see this year.
It absolutely is. I guess we got Micah calling in again. Should I allow him a third call? Because, Micah, this is it right here.
Let's do it.
Micah, only if you listen.
One.
Hold on. Micah, you're out. Are you there, Micah?
Yeah.
Okay. First off, Peter likes Hungry Howie's pizza, so don't ask any questions unless you say you're going to buy him a pizza.
Okay.
So, Micah, what do you want to talk about?
Hi, Micah. Thank you for calling the 800 number.
You know what?
Do you want to talk about the Bucs cuts today?
What's on your mind, Micah?
Do you want to talk about the Bucs Ravens game?
This guy
Well,
sucks.
the Bucs and Ravens game, I was actually at that game. It was great to see.
Well,
But
Micah wants to talk about the Bears.
No, Micah doesn't want to talk about the Bears, Harry. Micah
No
wants
one
to
wants to
talk
talk
about
about
the
the
Bucs.
Bears.
Go ahead, Micah.
Get him off.
yeah, I want to talk about an actual good team.
Oh,
Yeah, that's good.
wow.
No, but what I actually wanted to say was I was just wondering because there's a lot of like rumors I see online and everything about Mike Evans either gonna get a contract or is he gonna get traded?
He's not getting traded. Let's just stop that right there. Mike Evans getting traded? Nah, it's not happening. They would like to reach an extension though.
Can you do
because
that again?
How about
Nah.
you?
So
Nah.
they would like to reach a contract extension with Mike Evans. The two are talking. I'm sure they're talking now because the problem is the Bucs cap space, and I'll give you an accurate number right now. The Bucs are really lacking in cap space right now. So they need to open up cap space for a couple different reasons, right? Not only in case their injuries happen during the season, they'll need cap space to sign somebody. But what a lot of fans don't realize is that the Buccaneers, when they form the practice squad, they need to incorporate those practice squad salaries into their cap space. And right now they only have about 628,000. So they need to open up cap space somehow. Mike Evans is the most logical choice. He wants to be here. He wants to finish his career as the Bucs. The Bucs want him to do that, and of course the fans want him to do that because Mike Evans is, as we know, a man of the people. The other options they have aren't really ones avenues they want to go down. They've pretty much exhausted all options other than to restructure Shaq Barrett, which is something they don't want to do at this time. He's over 30 years old, coming off an Achilles, and he might not be in their long-term future plans. So you don't want to push that money down the road like they did with the void years and with everybody else, right? The other way is to extend or restructure Devin White. Again, after this offseason's fiasco, sitting down with him, talking to him, according to Rick Stroud, they had a secret quote-unquote meeting after he requested to be traded, and they talked to him and say, listen, a lot of guys play on their fifth-year option. It's not a slight to you. We just had to clear $75 million off the books. We want you here long term. Let's just play this year out, and we'll revisit that. Likely not going to do anything for him. The only really logical option left is to extend or restructure. But again, if you're going to extend Mike Evans, you really don't want to restructure his deal anymore. So extend Mike Evans is the only real possible option they have to open up that cap space, unless they make a surprise trade somewhere and move someone's money off the contract. But when you look at the Bucs contract status right now, and let me just pull it up again, so I'm giving you accurate information here. There's really not a player that they can move on from that's going to give them significant cap savings without hurting this team. I mean, if you look at their cap space, the guys they have here, everyone's base salary, the highest base salary are Mike Evans, Shaq Barrett, and Devin White. Evans is going to be making 13. Shaq is going to be making 14.25, and Devin White's going to be making 11 million. Those are the three guys. Everyone else is due to restructures already this offseason to get under the cap and be able to bring guys like Jamel Dean back and bring Levante back. All of their cap hits are pretty much under $1 million or just over $1 million. You have Baker Mayfield's at 2. Greg Gaines is at 2.5. Well, Golston's at 2. They could move on from Golston, open up $2 million, but that's not really enough to sign, any veteran players or any players really that kind of, pop up during the season. So they need to find a way to open up cap space. But is he getting traded? Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. All right, Mike, I appreciate the call. Thanks a lot for calling the Sports Web.
Great call, Mike.
Tuesday night. Yeah, I mean, the first time caller called in 3 times. So open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. The other number, in case you can't get through, 727-409-7528. Again, 727-409-7528. Let's go back out to the phone lines. James, welcome to the Evolution. You're on with yours truly, along with Harry the Greek professional handicapper extraordinaire and JC Allen of Pewter Report. Go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just had to do this. Is so awesome.
It is.
Yes.
Comment LA Knight is great. So let me
Fire.
talk to you.
Let me talk to you.
Talk to us.
So first off, Mike Evans will never be traded. As a matter of fact, I will literally go out on this forum and say Mike Evans will be a Buck for life. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Agree.
He's not leaving.
I completely
He's not
agree.
going anywhere else. This man is a staple in the community, and to be honest with you, you could literally put him in the top 5 would be a safe bet. You could probably make an argument for the top 3 of Bucs all time potentially, but he's the most consistent wide receiver by far we've ever had. And think about this with Mike. Mike has dealt with change after change after change after change. He has never had a true franchise guy. He had Jameis probably for the longest part, but after the final season with him, it wasn't a done deal. And then, of course, you have Brady for those few years. But still, I mean, this man has had to go through 9 seasons of just quarterback after quarterback after quarterback.
Right.
And yet he still gets disrespected by so many for not being a top 5 receiver. It's an insult. It really is. I don't know how he's not a top 5 receiver.
I don't think anybody's insulting him. Let me interject here real quick. I have a question for you. We'll just put this all to rest. First off, there's nothing arguing. He's probably going to go down as probably the best offensive player ever in Tampa Bay history, in my opinion.
Agree.
But the question is this. Don't ever say there's no chance. Of course he's going to retire a Buccaneer. He's going to do this. Hold on, guys. That's assuming that he doesn't want to break the bank on his next contract. Let's be very clear about it. Now, what happens if he wants too much money? This team can't afford it. JC, take the lead on that.
They'll find a way. I mean, it depends. If he's going to be diva-ish and be like, I want $30 million, it's not going to happen. You know, if he's asking for what Godwin got, $20 million, that's definitely, I think it would have been done already. He's probably asking for slightly over that, maybe 22, 23 million. And they're just trying to find a creative way to make it work under the cap. I don't think it's, if they are apart on money, I don't think it's hundreds of millions of dollars. Mike has made plenty of money, and he's given plenty of money away through his various charities and act of kindness that a lot of people don't even know about some of the stuff that he does.
Yeah,
so
it's impressive.
I don't
what
think
he
it's
has
a
done.
I don't think it's a money thing. He's already disrespected, you know, around the league. You see all these cornerbacks coming out with top 5 wide receivers, and he's not on any of these lists. You know, so I think that relatively soon we should be hearing something. I would think so.
Okay.
Again, you know, they don't have any other way to open up money, and there's a will, a want, and a need to get from both sides to get this done sooner rather than later.
Now, we had this discussion the other night in the post-game show with J.P. Peterson, and we had the great Drew Felios who called in and said he didn't think Mike Evans was a Hall of Famer. I want to ask the fans tonight, what do you think about it? Because I think he's an automatic Hall of Famer if his career ended today, just because of what JC said. You know, never really played with a consistent quarterback besides maybe a Brady in the last couple of years, and has still been able to be productive. James, in your opinion, Mike Evans right now, if his career ended today, knock on wood, of course we're not hoping for injury, but if it did end today, do you think that Mike Evans is a Hall of Famer, yes or no, and why or why not?
100% Hall of Famer.
Okay.
And the only statistic that to back that up, besides everything else that was even mentioned, you have a wide receiver who has tied arguably the greatest wide receiver in the history of this game. It's not even arguable. Jerry Rice is the greatest to ever touch this ball at the wide receiver position. There's no argument to that.
Great.
But he has tied that with Jameis, with Brady, will hopefully break the record with Baker or Trask, depending on how that goes.
You had the greatness of Mike Glennon. You had the greatness of Josh McCown,
right.
Ryan Fitzpatrick. I mean, there's been...
You put some respect on Fitzmagic's name.
And put some respect on Napoleon Dynamite, okay?
You shut up and be quiet.
Shut up!
Go ahead,
Get
James.
off, Harry the Greek. Why don't you make yourself a dang quesadilla? Anyway.
What? Make me a what? I didn't hear what he said.
A dang quesadilla. It's from the movie Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh, that's it. I've never actually seen the movie, but
You've never
Mike
seen
Glennon.
the movie?
Wow.
Oh man, I'm ready to get you out of here
Anyway.
for that. How could you not see Napoleon Dynamite?
Because I'm too busy handicapping games for you clowns.
What other movies have you seen? Let me ask you, what other movies?
I don't know. I don't know. I watch the NFL movies. Help me here, JC.
Invincible, Concussion,
Rookie.
JCL's
Any Given
Little
Sunday,
That's
Giants.
it. Yeah, Any Given
The
Sunday.
Replacement,
Little Giants.
Little Giants,
Little Giants. Yes.
Cats. What else?
Remember
What
the
other movies?
Titans?
Remember the Titans? Rudy? Well, which ones? The Program?
Rudy.
All right. This
Varsity
is not about
Blues?
picking on me, okay? Remember, I know where you live up in no place really there,
The
little man.
Replacements.
It's Holiday, and yes, you're correct. The Replacements with Keanu Reeves there. Shut up, Harry. All right, James, go ahead.
No, well, and I'll finish by that. Listen, I mean, JC's correct. I mean, the disrespect not being on the top 5 aside, you know, you have a very unselfish individual. You know, somebody who's not ever complain. I mean, he's maybe complained behind closed doors, which I don't blame him.
Sure.
But you know, to the media, to everyone else, he's a positive dude.
Yep.
He cares about the game. He loves the game. And I mean, I don't see how anybody with intelligence could argue that this man is not a Hall of Famer. Like just in the fact that he's hopefully about to break a record that has stood for a very long time, mind you.
Yeah.
And done it with one team and done it with inconsistency in coaching, inconsistency in quarterback play, and still managed to do all of that. I don't know how you do it.
Consistency in surrounding talent too. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
you-
exactly.
I think you're absolutely right, James. Anything else here on the evolution? Let me ask you this. Been asking fans all night long. With the performance the other night versus the Ravens, especially their offense, do you feel more comfortable with this Bucs team going forward?
I don't know if comfortable is the word I would use.
Okay.
I'd probably say something along the lines of cautiously optimistic.
Okay.
You know, that's
Great answer.
that to me.
Fair enough.
Like I will say, I have a little more faith in Baker than I had before Friday, because I just, you know, the thing is this offense, and Ryan Jensen aside, which is a huge loss, but this offense is going to work 100% through the run game. If you're going to ask Baker Mayfield to throw 35 to 40 times a game, you're going to lose the game.
Absolutely.
If you get him down to the 25 to 28 mark and have Rashad White just try to find a way to get 75, 80, 100-yard rushing potentially, depending on the day and team, then I think Baker could do well in this offense. And to me, I think if Baker Mayfield doesn't shoulder the load, which in the one game he had for the Rams that he looked amazing, and to be honest, I think that's what got him to Tampa, was the one game that he just went off in. It's because of the fact that in that game, he didn't have to throw it 50 times. You know, that was the same thing with Jameis and even Brady to an extent, is that the reason why Jameis Winston failed, it's not because he's not talented, but because he just gunslinger throwing it 40 times a game. And I'm sorry, you can't be consistent on that. So for a guy like Baker, who has had success in the seasons that he's had a good run game, then you're going to try to set him up for success. Now, whether or not the offensive line will rise to meet that challenge, that's where the cautiously part comes into play. Because if you get Baker throwing over 35 times, it's going to be a long season for him. So the run game is going to be a big point of emphasis on setting up the pass. You're still going to have your splash plays with Mike and Chris and hopefully Palmer as well, who I was just blown away by in preseason. Loved him. But that to me is – so I'm cautiously optimistic. Their schedule in the first 4 weeks is rough. It's not easy. We're not going to see the
week 2 is easy.
I don't think until week 3 or 4. So
You know what I can't wait for is when the Buccaneers running their 3 and 4 wide receiver sets and they start running those draw plays when they're spreading that defense out. I'm telling you, man, and you've hit this right on the head. I'll tell you what, Peter, I don't know where you found them, but this is actually an intelligent caller.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a little bit of a joke, but seriously, man, this is going to be a running football team. It is going to be something to really witness if they can pass protect just this much, and they have to do it through the running game. That play action game is going to be absolutely filthy. The pundits around all the national media, they don't really have this team doing anything in this year. I've said it already, and I'll say it again. This team wins 10 ball games this year, and they're going to do it through the arm of Baker Mayfield, and they're going to do it either with him or with Kyle Trask. It's not going to make a difference. They will be a run-first oriented team, and I don't care who's under center throwing them the football. They will have success if they run that football.
I tell you right now, you have to be impressed with Rashard White, with what he did, against the Ravens on Saturday night, with the opportunities he got. He definitely showed some flashes of brilliance, and he's going to get every opportunity. And I think Harry's right. They're going to emphasize that run because they're going to take the pressure off of a Baker or a Kyle if he comes in. I think Baker could definitely have a comeback year, much like Geno Smith.
Yeah, but what if he does have a breakout season? Again, I'm going right back to J.C. Allen because he knows all this stuff.
Yeah.
How do you sign this guy? They got him at a bargain price, man. You can't tell me they're going to keep all these players. Oh, they'll just figure it out. Someone has to go.
Well, they've been able to
I didn't say you. I'm saying him.
But what I'm saying is they've been able to figure it out throughout the whole thing. Everybody said, sky is falling. And
they are paying nothing for QB1 this year. Literally, they're paying.
But they have a lot of money coming off the books next year, so they'll have.
There you go. So now they'll be able to do it.
Right now, they have around, I think, $30 million projected in cap space for next season. They can also always restructure and open up more space. I think obviously there's a pretty big priority other than quarterback, and that's going to be Tristan Wirfs. And then how you prioritize that. Let's say Baker has a great season, wins comeback player of the year, throws for 4,000 yards, throws 27, 28 touchdowns and 8 or 9 picks, and they win 10 games, win the NFC South. Then I think you're looking at bringing Baker back, and I think, you could probably get him on a reasonable deal, something like Geno Smith just got, maybe 3 years, $75 million, 4 years, $100 million.
I think he throws for 3,000 yards. I don't think he's going 4,000 yards. That's getting out of hand. I say 3,000 yards, 30 touchdowns. That's my opinion.
I've already got 2,000 yards mapped out with Evans and Chris Godwin. Godwin, I think, is going to have more receptions and more receiving yards than Evans, and I still think Evans gets his 1,000 yards. So I'm already at like 2,100 right there. You throw in a 500. You look at what the tight ends did last year. I think K-Dot you can put someone for almost 400 yards last year. Let's say a year of improvement. They use 2 tight ends a lot, 50 catches, 500 yards. And now you're already itching towards 3, and you haven't even talked about Rashard White catching the ball out of the backfield. He caught 50 balls last year out of the backfield, by the way. He's going to be a big part of that. Then you throw in the other tight ends, the other wide receivers. I think 4,000, 3,800, 4,000 is definitely in reach for him this season, especially with the success of the running game. We had Dave Canales on this podcast earlier, and it's just talking to him in general. This offense is going to be body blow, hit you with a deep ball. Use that play action, use those running to get people creeping forward, and then that's when they're going to use that play action to hit that deep pass, hit that long bomb, and make those big splash plays on you. So
one of those receivers won't get 1,000 this year. One of those receivers, JCA, will not get 1,000 yards this year.
If it's going to be one of them, it's going to be Mike Evans.
Yeah, because I honestly think Chris Godwin's going to go for 1,200 this year. That's just my opinion.
I've got him at around 1,200.
He's going to be his security blanket. And again, I didn't want to come out and say it because I'm not rooting against the guy. This offense is not going to be set up for 2 1,000-yard rushers, because if it was, it'd be one of the greatest shows on turfs.
Well, you mean receivers?
Yeah, the receivers.
It was last.
Sorry,
but to argue your point, it was last year.
That was last year. Now we're also talking about your QB1 of all time.
No. If you go to Seattle last year, DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett both had 1,000 yards, and that's the offense they're bringing over. You look at what Kenneth Walker and that running back team did, and again, you look what the tight ends did for that run. Geno Smith had 4,000 yards passing. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for Baker to have that. This is his first year. He's healthy, fully healthy in a long time, and just talking to him and his wife at their benefit yesterday, Be the Ball, which raised over $100,000. So congratulations to them, and congratulations to all the kids, and all the kids who are going to benefit from that. But she said he hasn't seen him this fired up in a long time. So he's going to be
That's awesome.
dangerous. I think he's going to be dangerous this year. Just kind of watching him with that first team offense, talking to people inside the building, and seeing his attitude, his especially outside of a press conference type deal. I'm starting to become a believer in Baker, and I think 10 wins and 4,000 yards isn't out of the realm of possibility for this kid.
I agree, and I tell you right now, I think Madden also is high on it. And James, thanks a lot for the call. Appreciate it. As always, use that second call if you want to. Harry, I know you got to get out of here in just a little bit, but Madden predicted, and they're not always so accurate, although
have been the last 3 years.
In the last 3 years, they have the Bucs versus the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 58. They have Baker something along the lines of 4,600 yards and 8 interceptions. So we'll see how it plays out, but offense is definitely they got some weapons on this team. Let's go ahead and go out to the comments, and then we'll get you out of here, JC. And, of course, Harry the Greek, Micah trying to call back. Again, Micah, you're only allowed 2 to 3 calls here. I appreciate you, buddy. But, all right, so let's go out to –
Does that remind you of Peter spamming the phone calls all night long?
Well, it's okay. I mean, I don't mind answering the phone calls, but I do want to make sure – that we get other phone callers on here if they want to call in. All right, so we read that one. Let's see here. O'Connor was a bit of a surprise, says Cole. Nice to see Cam Gill do well. Christopher Cole. I was going to ask if you this morning if you were going to get J.C. Allen tonight, but you're way ahead of me. Thanks, Christopher Cole. The wifey says Edward Kirby at J.C. Allen. NFL on Twitter or X. Bucs have confirmed it. So there you go. There is your 32 confirmed cuts. That's the reason why you married her in the first place. She promotes you. She's always.
So I will say,
yes,
there's about 4 cuts left that the Bucs need to make.
Which one do you think those are going to be?
One of them, I believe, is definitely going to be Evan Deckers.
Okay.
He is a backup long snapper. You don't need 2 of them. Zach Chiner, steady Eddie. I don't think they're going to get rid of Zach Chiner. The other one, Kedrick Whitehead, undrafted free agent safety. He's banged up. He didn't play in the last game. So I think he's another one of those guys. Derek Pitts, undrafted cornerback out of Alabama State, sorry. I think he's going to be another one of those cuts. And then, right now they have 7 outside linebackers. We knew that was going to be a very tough room because they've all played very well. I mean, Charles Snowden had a sack or a fumble and a forced fumble and a sack the last 2 games. He was dealing with a bit of a groin injury earlier, but he's healthy now. So it's coming down to Cam Gill, Marquise Watson, another undrafted free agent, and Charles Snowden. But I think Snowden's probably on the outside looking in. They'll probably add him and Jose Ramirez back to the practice squad. And that's your 4. Now, surprise cuts, Keyshawn Vaughn, I'm told is still in discussion about potentially being on the outs. They're going to look at the waiver wire. Maybe they can find an upgrade. Or like I mentioned at the top of the show, a guy who can really pound the rock. He's the guy who I think is safe for right now, but I wouldn't call him safe on the roster spot for sure. Another guy, Josh Hayes, cornerback out of Kansas State, although I think he's done enough to make the roster. It might come down to, because you're going to have Jamel Dean, you're going to have Carlton Davis, Zion McCollum, D. Delaney. Those are going to be your 4. Do you keep 6, and is that Josh Hayes and another guy, Keenan Isaac? Do you keep him? That could be, round out, or that could be another surprise cut. He's played really well in practice, hasn't really shown up in preseason games as much. But those are likely your 6 guys they're choosing from right now. Anyone else, in my mind, would be a legit surprise. Just kind of looking at the roster the way it's constructed. Maybe they find an upgrade at tackle. You're looking at, Justin School or Brandon Walton. Forgive me for a second. I'm just kind of looking at my notes here. Justin School or Brandon Walton could be surprise cuts. Mike Green, who they apparently or assumingly kept over Patrick O'Connor. If they can upgrade that position, he might be a surprise cut. KJ Britt, I don't think so. But I mean, that's another guy who maybe, if they find a better safety depth, maybe Kayvon Merriweather, who looked to make the team. But other than that, I think you're looking at, those would be surprise cuts to me. Maybe not so much Mike Green, Justin School, or Brandon Walton. Well, Brandon Walton would be, but Justin School, Mike Green, if they could upgrade from them, Kayvon Merriweather as well. But I mean, you're looking at the 4 probably cuts going to be Evan Deckers, Charles Snowden, Derek Pitts, and Kedrick Whitehead, who might be waived with an injury designation or just put on IR for a red shirt.
All right, good stuff there. Harry and JC, I know you guys got to get out of here. JC, go ahead and promote yourself here, and we'll get you out of here, Harry, in just a little bit. Go ahead, JC.
Yeah, guys, I'm cooking today. So if you missed any cuts or anything like that, check out my Twitter page at JC Allen NFL. Check out Pewter Report, pewterreport.com. We have breaking news, all going on throughout the next couple of days, cuts, trackers, etc. Check out our YouTube channel at Pewter Report TV. And as always, thank you. If you're not following me, you guys can follow me with everybody saying JC Allen NFL on Twitter. So definitely do that. Peter, always a pleasure. Harry, week 2, let's make a side bet. And let's go, guys.
All right, let's go. Absolutely. All right, JC, thanks a lot for your time here of the Pewter Report on the evolution of sports talk television. Friend, all right? Yes.
Oh, little something to add in here. If you can't get enough of JC Allen and Peter Blake, don't worry. We'll be there tomorrow at 10:30. Breaking news on the JP Peterson Show with Peter Blake. I'll be there 10:30 tomorrow talking all things Bucs and cuts.
All right, there you go, JC Allen of Pewter Report. Thanks a lot for that report, and we'll see you tomorrow morning, all right? Get some sleep.
Good, buddy.
All right, good stuff there. Yes, JC. All right, Harry, let's come back here. Final thoughts on the sports web.
Me?
Yeah, you, Harry.
Me?
Yes.
Final thoughts?
Yes. Final thoughts.
My final thoughts are, while you guys are yucking it up talking about that, I'll be working. Deuces, brother. Thank you so much for having me on. We'll talk to you later, and go Bucs.
All right, there you go. Good stuff. I love it. Don't work too hard tomorrow. We'll read the comments. We'll take your phone calls. Micah, I appreciate the support. First-time caller, but only 2 to 3 calls a show. Guys, if you want to call, you want to talk about the Bucs Performance versus the Baltimore Ravens, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. The other number, in case you can't get through, and you should be able to, 727-409-7528. Again, 727-409-7528. Andrew says 2 giant goopballs. Peter Griffin. So, yeah.
Oh, my God. Who the hell cares?
Ed says thanks. Absolutely, Ed. Thank you very much. James says can't replace Jensen, but with the O-line knowing and helps them to become even more prepared. Hopefully, good comment. As always, 2 giant goopballs. Please tell me they didn't cut Randy Watson. I don't think they did. That's pretty funny. JC, what's your thoughts on our tight ends? Tune in to the JP Peterson Show tomorrow from 10 to noon. We'll have that answer at 10:30. Micah says, does Palmer become a starter? I think he's definitely a third wide receiver on this team. Ralph says, talk about Harry being on the radio show tomorrow. Absolutely. He's on the radio show tomorrow. I'm good, not bad. Let's go out to David. Here's one for you, Harry. Is Chicago staying with their old stadium, or are they going to build a new one? It certainly seems like they're going to build a new one in Arlington at that site. Not in Chicago. This guy is JC is not accurate, says Ed. I don't know. Edward, I don't know what that is right there. This guy, I don't know what that is. Scott says, what's up, Ed? Absolutely. Micah says, do you know the Caps? Laugh out loud. JC knows what he's talking about. Laugh out loud. Please tell me where he is wrong. 2 giant goopballs like it. He works at Hungry Howie's, I heard. No, I don't. Derek Brooks always said, if a team really wants to keep you, they'll find a way. Good comment, Scott.
Oh, yeah.
Bucs Life. Micah, Edward Kirby is Cap. Steven says Hall of Fame. I mean, that's the question for the night. Does Mike Evans belong in the Hall of Fame? Why or why not? 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. The other number, in case you can't get through, 727-409-7528. Again, 727-409-7528. 2 giant goopballs if he talks about the Bucs after saying he wants to talk about an actual good team. Mark says, damn right, he is a Hall of Famer. I like it.
Oh, yeah.
Edward says draft day. Absolutely forgot that. Very good. Harry Bird, can you throw a football over the mountains? He hasn't seen the movie. How do you say Napoleon Dynamite and not watch the movie? Harry the Greek. What is that all about? Mark says, with the quarterbacks we have and the numbers he has put up, it should be right behind Moss and Rice. Ed says, Any Given Sunday is a GOAT movie. Agree. I think it's probably one of the best, if not the best, football movie of all time. Look at the cast: Al Pacino, Jamie Foxx, Jim Brown, Lawrence Taylor, Cameron Diaz, and Margaret. The list goes on and on and on. It's a great movie. It's well done. Love the play calling by the new OC. That's the other question for the night. Do you feel confident, Bucs fans, in what they showed with the tempo, with the new wrinkles, with all the motion the other night versus the Ravens as they defeated them 26-20? 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. Christopher Cole, heck, I would be comfortable with Baker or Trask. I see a lot of that. 10 wins for sure. That's what I have them at. If Baker takes care of the ball, our defense is good enough to win games this season. Good comment.
Oh, yeah.
Andrew Fulbert says, good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, Andrew. Let's go out to Christopher Cole. We're going to have some wide-ass open receivers. I love it. Good stuff.
Flawless victory.
KR says, evening, guys. What's up, KR?
Oh, yeah.
And Ralph says, Holiday Florida on the news. And, of course, the other question for the night, what are you doing to prepare for the hurricane? Are you staying in? Are you going away? What do you think about that turn of events? Let's go out to Jim from Ohio. Damn it, Jim. Welcome to the evolution of sports talk television. Your thoughts, first and foremost. Questions for the night. Mike Evans, is he a Hall of Famer? Yes or no? Why or not? Why not? Welcome to the Sports Web.
Yes, I think he's a Hall of Famer.
Okay.
But, I'm a fan, Joe.
Well, that's okay if you're a fan. You could be a fan of Mike Evans, but why do you think he's a Hall of Famer?
I think when it's all said and done, his career ain't over. So, but he's one of the best wide receivers come in the league. As far as being his height and how he catches the ball, and he can move his feet for a big guy. Tall, but he move his feet. So if he keep playing like he's playing, I think he'll make it to the Hall of Fame. Now, right now, I don't know at this second if he retired today. I don't know.
Well, I think if he retired today, he would still be a Hall of Famer because of his consistency, the quarterbacks he's played with. He's still playing at a high level. And again, he may not be necessarily the flashiest wide receiver, but he continues to get it done year after year. He's only 30 years old, so I definitely think he has at least 3 or 4 more great years in him. And I think he's completely disrespected because people say, well, again, he's not the flashiest guy. He's not going to be talking and doing all this other stuff. He just goes about it. He goes about his business in a professional manner. What did you think about the Bucs' performance the other night versus the Ravens? You feel comfortable. You feel more optimistic about this season with that performance the other night in the preseason.
Yeah, that after they locked down that defense and the offense and the quarterbacks looked pretty good. So it looked like we're going to have a good head quarterback and a backup, even though I don't know who's going to be.
Well, it's going to be Baker's going to be your starter, and Kyle Trask is going to be number 2, and it looks like John Wolford just got cut, but according to J.C. Allen, a Pewter report may be brought back at a later time here in the next couple of days. Of course, suffered some type of neck injury. We don't know what the latest on that is. We don't know if he's going to be brought back or not, but it certainly seems like he could be, according to J.C. Allen. Once again, a Pewter report. What else, Jim?
Okay, that preseason game, that last one looked pretty good for the overall, and I'm ready for them to put it together and see what we got going on.
All right, my friend, 13 days away. Great call. Damn it, Jim. Thanks a lot for calling the evolution of sports talk television. All right, open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. The other number, in case you can't get through, 727-409-7528. Again, 727-409-7528. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. The questions for the night: is Mike Evans a Hall of Famer? Why or why not? What do you think of the performance by the Bucs versus the Ravens? What do you have to say about this team overall? What has stuck out at you? What scares you about them? Again, open phone lines if you want to call up and talk about your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then also, what are you doing for the hurricane that is approaching. Are you worried about it? Because I feel like, once again, I had to get on here tonight to kind of calm you down, because that's all the talk here the last couple of days, especially today. There's hurricane warnings, there's hurricane watches, there's tropical storm. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there that's kind of scary, that scares people. Are you batting down the hatches? Are you staying here? Are you going somewhere else? 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. The other number, in case you can't get through, 727-409-7528. Again, 727-409-7528. Of course, once again, catch the JP Peterson Show, which will be live tomorrow from 10 to noon on Facebook and YouTube. I'll be doing it right here, playing all the commercials, and of course, taking some phone calls from you guys that are calling in and wanting to talk about the Bucs and, of course, the Tampa Bay Rays, as they took 2 out of 3 from the New York Yankees. They start a series with the Miami Marlins tomorrow, a 2-game set. So good for them. And of course, coming into the night, they're only 2 games out of first place from the Baltimore Orioles. Let's go out to Scott. Mike Evans is a Hall of Famer because he is consistent, always puts up numbers, and has played with some bad quarterbacks. Great point.
Flawless victory.
Let's go out to Scott again, but with bad quarterbacks, he's played with it. It was great that he's got to play on the team with the GOAT. Absolutely agree with that.
Yeah.
To reset here, there have been about 32 cuts, and I want to go back out to Miss Taylor Jean here, who is the wife of JC Allen of Pewter Report. She basically gives you the list right there. Of course, Ryan Jensen going on the IR. What do you think about those turn of events? Do you feel more pessimistic? Do you feel good about this offensive line? I thought the offensive line the other night against the Ravens did a good job. You know why? Because you didn't talk about him. You didn't talk about Tristan Wirfs. You didn't talk about Luke Gedeke. You didn't talk about the rookie. You didn't talk about Hansey or Matt Filer. You know why? Because they kept the pocket clean and they gave the quarterback enough time to throw the ball. So there are your cuts. Any surprises for you? For me, it's David Moore. He performed well, veteran presence, but it certainly seems like the Bucs love the youth in that wide receiving room there with Rakeem Jarrett, Trey Palmer, and of course, Devin Tompkins most likely making the team as a kick and punt returner. So any surprises at this point? Let's see. Let's go out to Jeff Quinn. What's up, Mr. Blake? What's going on, buddy?
Oh, yeah.
Let's go out to Christopher Cole. My sister works at Walmart, and she said it's crazy place right now. It is crazy place right now because there are some people that are freaking out that have never dealt with a hurricane before. And again, there is no guarantee that this thing is going to hit the Tampa Bay area. The forecast is a little bit north, but what I'm telling you is, don't take this for granted. Don't take this track for granted because it can always change. You've seen hurricanes in the past. You saw Hurricane Ian last year. It was supposed to be and forecasted to hit the Tampa Bay area. It did not. It hit south. It hit Fort Myers. So the same situation can happen again. Just, watch Dennis Phillips. He's a guy that's been on the show. I think he's one of the best, if not the best meteorologist out there on Channel 28. So watch him, Dennis Phillips live. I'm in Bradenton. I dealt with Ian and stayed. He had a Category 2 winds here, stayed. I'm also in Zone D through those, so I'm good here as far as surge. Let's hope the system weakens. Be safe, my friend.
Yeah.
Scott again. Tompkins is going to return a kick this year. Certainly seems like it if he can get the blocking. And, of course, you don't have those penalties holding them back. So with that being said, thanks a lot to everybody for coming on tonight. We're going to wrap this up because we got an early day tomorrow. Once again, the JP Peterson Show, which can be seen and heard on YouTube and, of course, on Facebook. Watch for me to share it. Thanks a lot to, of course, my co-host, Mr. Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire of 1252 Chicago Sports, and the great JC Allen of Pewter Report. We'll be back on Wednesday night or anytime here it breaks. Keep on tuning in for all your Bucs news, Rays news, Lightning news, USF this fall coming up this week. Pre-half, post-game editions of the Sports Web. Like and follow the Sports Web on YouTube. like I Love St. Pete, The Hub, Amped Up Sports, and of course, Bucs Life. And do 3 things for me here on a late Monday night. Be safe. And if you want somebody to talk to about the hurricane, my door is always open. 3 things. You love them. You got to have them. Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time. And for the Tampa Bay sports fan, it's your time. Guys, be safe. And hopefully, we'll see you on Wednesday night on the evolution of Sports Talk Television.
uwager.lv, sportsbook, and casino. Sign up today at uwager.lv, the premier online sportsbook, taking wagers since 1998. The most player-friendly lines, weekly juice specials, and a true dime line in MLB. Unique casino platforms with thousands of games. Play poker, high stakes, low stakes, or tournament play. uwager.lv, what we offer. Free same-day payouts. Customer service and wagering support, 24/7, year-round. Free monthly rebates on your action and daily casino rebates. Contests, free bets, best bonuses, and giveaways. Generous referral program. Get an 80% free play bonus on your first deposit, up to $1,000. Sign up today, and use promo code SPORTSWEB. Remember, you can't win if you don't play.